Hey, super entrepreneurs. I hope you're having an amazing day. Today, we have a wonderful interview with a person who was on Shark Tank season 13, episode one. I believe it was the first pitch to air on the episode. I'm getting the nod. And I'm so happy that she decided to reach out. We have someone from Kin Apparel. Everyone, I need some super claps wherever you are right now, sitting on the bus, watching on the toilet. Just start clapping as loud as you can and give some super claps for super Philomina Kane. Woo! Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, I love the jazz singers or jazz hands. I don't.
Hi, everyone. Hi, kinfolk, and everyone else.
It is such a pleasure to have you here. I loved your pitch. I loved the energy, and all that. But before we get into the actual Shark Tank, talk about the your Shark Tank experience. Let's start. How did you get involved with wanting? Did you want to get on Shark Tank? Did they reach out to you, or what was your background to Shark Tank?
Yeah, so in 2020, when I really went full time at Kin Apparel, my mom used to always say, "Ever consider Shark Tank?" And I would always say no. Like, I never really thought about it. But I would always watch Shark Tank to learn business jargon. So I didn't study business in school, I studied biology. So Shark Tank was one of those shows where I always used to write down everything they were saying and Google it after so I could just like pick up on some business terms. But in watching the entrepreneurs on TV, I never made the connection that like these are entrepreneurs just like myself. Like sometimes when you watch things like that, you think it's so distant, but it never really clicked. Like, wait a minute, like I could do this too. So whenever my mom would be like, ever consider Shark Tank? I'll just be like, no, mom, it's whatever. No, I don't consider it. But in 2021, which March 2021, a Shark Tank casting producer actually reached out to Ken Apparel. Yeah, and that's really how it all started. Like it was not on my radar at all. But when they reached out, my mom was the first person I called. I was like, Mom, Shark Tank reached out. And she was like, You see, I told you. And I was like, Yeah, you did. So that's really how it all began.
No, I love that. It does go to show that it's not always as unobtainable as people make it out to be. Look, obviously there's something like 40,000 people a year apply to be a part of the show, and a certain amount, and I've actually quite a few of the people that I've gotten an interview were actually reached out to by Shark Tank and not the other way around. And I don't I mean I it, it's I think it's really like kind of like getting a lottery ticket, really. I mean, even more so because like it's like winning the lottery, but I didn't buy the ticket. The ticket found me. I was wanting and like it smacked me in the face. I was like, whoa, where did this go? Oh my goodness, this is a winning ticket. Where did like this is insane, right? Versus I went and I played the lottery, I was able to get through.
Mhm.
And I think that speaks volumes for the level of work. Not that other entrepreneurs aren't doing amazing work, but I think it speaks volumes of the work that you're producing, right? And volumes to even the businesses that have to go through the process as well, because not everybody's on everybody's radar.
That's true on the call. So when they reached out, we had a call the following week, and I asked her, "How did you find us?" And she was like, "I saw y'all on Instagram," and I was like, "Yes, it's working."
Need some dings for that. Because we never know, right? We don't know who's watching, who's paying attention, and it's one of those things where it's like you can have a small following, but so it picks up. Somebody happened to be looking for a specific niche, and you happen to fill that niche, and bam! All of a sudden, it's like you go from being a relatively nobody in that maybe that particular space of say Instagram world to all of a sudden it's like whoa, like you just got elevated like that, because of the work that you've put in to make that happen.
Exactly, exactly. Like, it's crazy because I can't even say it's a dream come true because I never even dreamed this. Like, I never even dreamt this. Like, if anything, it's like one of the biggest achievements of my life. Like, to be elevated like this because Shark Tank, like literally prior to Shark Tank, we were making like what $1,000 a day, $2,000 a day, and now it's crazy. It's like 150 orders a day. So that's like
Whoa.
yeah, that's like in the 15,000. And
Yeah.
that's just because of Shark Tank. That's not even because of the investors, because I haven't had a chance to work with them yet because everything happens so fast. Like being on the season premiere is amazing, but it also means everything needs to happen quick. So you don't even have time to prepare. So yeah, all of that momentum was from Shark Tank, and all the articles that have been written about us is just amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean that's one of the tricky parts too is you're all, you made it onto the show, but there's still no guarantee that you're going to make it through to
Exactly.
actually air.
Exactly.
Um, and tell me about well, we'll get to I guess the ramp up after that, but so getting to go out to Shark Tank was the experience as I guess amazing or exhausting as you had built up in your mind.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. I mean, so the call came in March, and during the call, they ask you all these questions, and you're like, okay. And then just because you get the call doesn't mean you're on the show. Like you still have to fill out a huge application. The application is crazy. It's like 60 pages. Um,
Whoa.
then after that, you submit a video as well. You wait. You get another call. You move on to the next round. You wait again. You get another call. So it's a lot. It's a lot to get to fly out to LA and pitch. Like you have to do a lot. So that day that I was, and it was like late July. Um, Flown out to LA, and I'm standing there and I'm like, wow, like I'm really here. Like I see this on TV, and like you see, like on TV, you don't see all those like 50 cameras looking at you and the bright lights. I was sweating. They had to put something over here. I don't know what it is, but I need to get it because it's so cool. Like they put it over here, and then it like takes all the sweat. You don't see any sweat. It was fantastic. But yeah, it was surreal. It was surreal being in front of the sharks.
Like a armpit diaper or something, I
Yeah,
guess, you
so
know?
cool. It's on Amazon. I'm gonna need one of those.
Well, yeah, because I've been in sound stages before. I mean, so there's, like, not air conditioning and because they don't want the air rushing over the mics, and they're so it's tough, and you start to sweat. I mean, you see people sweat on Shark Tank all the time, but, it's like, "Oh, is it because they're nervous or because it's California and it might be, pretty warm and there isn't air conditioning blowing on them consistently, that kind of thing. There's a lot of like tricks and things, and I think that's a fair point about the cameras. I know when I went to film my TV show, The Top of Super Joe Pardo, the person that I filmed with, there to help them with their small business, she was nervous that we were going to show up with like these big, bazooka cameras, and we
Oh,
showed up with like little DSLRs, and she was like, "Oh, that's so less, intimidating than I was expecting." I was always like, "Oh, I thought you were going to come in with like this big camera into my house and all that stuff." I was like, "Nah, we don't do that. That's not good. It's not good for anybody, in my opinion." But you need they have their setups and so that's awesome. So you got to go. Now, how did you decide how you were going to craft your pitch?
yeah. So it was like hours and hours of watching Shark Tank. My head of operations, she's a really good writer. So we like I often say that she does the communicating, I do the marketing and the sales. So it's like she's really good at writing. So I watched a couple videos of Shark Tank. She watched a couple episodes. So I basically told her to draft something. So she made the first draft, and I edited it a little bit, made it sound more like myself. She also edited a little bit. So it went through a couple rounds before we got to like, okay, this is what we want to present.
Yeah, I mean it's a daunting task. That I think between that and figuring out what percentage, what offer you're looking for. Did you have trouble with that part, figuring out what you wanted your offer to be?
So because it's such a small company, to be honest, that number just came out of nowhere. Like, so, because I know that like when your company is like fairly new, the evaluation is really not that important. Like it can change any day. So I knew going into it that I wanted to just like say a number that wasn't like cutting myself short, but also wasn't crazy. So I was like, you know what, 200,000 for 10%, because when you go into the tank, like you know the sharks are gonna want to negotiate with you. So I knew leaving, I was not gonna get that 10% that I was asking for. I knew it was gonna be way more than that, but I just wanted to like have a benchmark to start with. So what I did was I was like, you know what, we're gonna make 1 million this year, and my projections was 1 million this year without Shark Tank. So I was like, you know what, we're gonna make 1 million this year, so let me double it. And say that we're worth 2 million. So that was my thinking. I no like actual analysis went into it because we're such a fairly small company.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a difficult, daunting task for small business owners to figure out like what is it really worth, and how. Because the other thing is, and I don't know that a lot of people realize this, is like whatever money you ask for, that's the money that you have to leave at least with,
Yeah.
and that can turn into a quick problem. They're like, well, your company's really only worth maybe like $600,000. I'll give you 200,000 and take 66%, and now you
Mhm.
work for me. Congratulations.
Exactly. Mhm.
So okay, when you got done your pitch and got out, tell me how are you feeling?
Oh,
What was the first things you went and did?
one thing about me, I'm gonna cry. My mom was like, "Yo, we're gonna need to bring like a bucket to Philo's wedding so she can cry in it." Oh my god, I'm a really emotional person, but I'm really emotional because of like everything that's just like aligned in my life. I I credit everything to my praying mother. So my mom is a pastor and she prays all the time. And if you think about it, like she really manifested like Shark Tank. It was something that she said I should do, and I was like I brushed it off, and like to see where we've come from to now, like there were times like growing up where I was in like the ambulance with my mom like 3 times a day because like my mom was so sick, right? And to
Oh
like go
wow.
from that to being like her child that's going to like make a better future for the family, is everything was going through my head at once. So that's why I was like so emotional. But yeah, when I got out the tank, I did my little dance, and they asked me a lot of questions. So after that, I got out to the trailer, and my mom was the first person I called. And my mom fasted that day. Like she fasted the night before and that day. So she was like, "Yeah, I'm fasting. So when you give me the good news, I'll eat." And I was like, "Okay." So I called her and I was like, "Mom, you can eat now." And yeah, she was so happy and emotional. We both like cried on the phone. And then when we got off the phone, she told me that like she like put herself on the floor and started rolling on the floor like, out of excitement. Yeah.
It's like a New Year's Eve kind of thing, right? Like you're waiting for that moment, and then that moment arrives, and you start banging the pots and pans out, out the front door and stuff, and making all the noise and going crazy. It's no that is awesome. Now going to the crying part. So I mean, I don't know if you read many of the comments that have been on your reaction video here on the channel.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, "Oh, crying and business doesn't mix, blah blah blah, blah blah blah." And I'm just like, okay, you can have your own opinions. I didn't grow up studying business. Like, I grew up being, I grew up working hard, of like literally coming from nothing, working hard my whole life, and to be on Shark and not only be on Shark Tank, but to leave with 2 sharks, I was like, "Yo," like, I was so emotional there, and I don't know if, like, a lot of people don't know this, but it's very, like, intimidating when you're by yourself pitching in, like, in front of the sharks, like, a lot of things are rushing through your head, like, your heart is racing, like, I often tell myself, like, if I was to do it again, I probably would have brought someone right next to me to, like, ease the tension a little bit, but at the end of the day, I'm glad, like, I sucked it up and I did it myself, like, so, in terms of the people, I don't really care about that noise, to be honest. Like my favorite quote growing up, it's like, don't go through life trying to prove people wrong. Go through life trying to prove the people that believe in you right. So I've always had like a positive outlook on life at all the time. Like at the end of the day, maybe the outcome will be the same, but at least you went through that process with a positive and optimistic view on everything. And also, I've done really well for myself.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. You
Anything they want to
absolutely
offer,
have.
really well for myself. Mhm.
I mean, I don't know if you've read some of my replies to them, but and I said this in relation to YouTube, right? Because quote unquote YouTube's easy, but no, anything is easy when you're sitting on the sidelines, right? And you're not doing the things. The people that are doing the things, they're not sitting around criticizing people. They're trying to hold other people up, and give them the encouragement, give them the space to go and be successful on in their own right, right? And I'll tell you, Philomina, the thing that really, and I don't remember if I specifically said this in the video or not, but the thing that got me about when you were crying was that you specifically mentioned that there was people that didn't appreciate you and what you wanted to accomplish and believe in what you wanted to accomplish. And it resonates with me because I have the scars, the same scars. I left my family's business to much like chagrin or whatever word you want to use of a lot of people that were like, "You're supposed to take this thing over," and like, "You're out of here." Like, why? Like, what are we all supposed to do now? And and I'm the bad guy because how dare I want to go and like do my own thing or forge a path in a different, totally different direction with the skills that I've come up with. So to hear that, and I've had those conversations where like people have told me like, look me in the eye, like you need to quit, you need to go back to work with your family, and like that's it, that's all there is to it. And it discounts you, it discounts what you've accomplished, it discounts what you're capable of accomplishing,
Exactly.
and everything else, right? So and I'm done with trying not to get choked up here myself thinking about it, but you know, people that haven't had that experience, they don't know what
Mhm.
they're like. They really like. I don't want to say they don't know what they're talking about, but when it comes to that, like you haven't had that experience. It's a mentally challenging experience to go through and then succeed through.
Very no, like I really hear you because I really and the thing is, I went in there and I really did not want to cry. Like, whenever I talk about my family or my upbringing, it just makes me really, really emotional because I went through a lot. Like, I had a whole intervention. My family was like, we heard you're not going to Columbia. So after Princeton, I got into the Columbia Millman School of Public Health. I studied biology. My degree was in biology and a certificate in global health. My goal was to become an epidemiologist, so I got into Columbia School of Public Health to pursue that. But I ended up like not going, and I had a whole intervention where my family were like, "How dare you?" Blah blah blah, and I'm just like, "Nah, I really think I'm gonna do this. Like, I really think I could do this. Just believe in me, like." And it took a lot for them to. I mean, actually, they didn't even believe me. They were just like, "Whatever." Like you already told them you're not going, so whatever, do your thing. But then they started seeing that the satin line hoodies, the concept, the brand was becoming a thing, and my mom was like, "Wow, like you're really doing this." Like, and I could tell she's proud of me. And at the end of the day, I don't blame my family. Like, if anything, we're from Ghana. They've seen a lot of hardship. They worked hard to come here, so it's like they don't want their children to go through that as well. So it's like if they see, if they see one lane that works, like engineering, biology, being a lawyer and all that stuff. If they understand a doctor that it works, they're like, pursue this because we know it's guaranteed. Because you don't really see a lot of people like becoming an entrepreneur, like where I'm from. So I understand, but I'm so glad that I was the one to like break that whole mindset. So they're like, you know what, there's other things that can be done in this world.
that's one thing that I guess it also I don't want to say it discounts, but thinking back about like because my family came from Italy like 6 7 generations ago, and it kind of like thinking in lines of like you can't what you can and can't do because of what's right or wrong. It's kind of discounting the fact that like I mean let's face it, biology isn't exactly being a lawyer, right? It's important, but there's a different stigma that comes with being a lawyer or a doctor or things of that nature versus biologist. It's very important, just not the same. There's probably a lot less chance of making that. I assume 6 figure salary and things of that nature that is kind of associated with the idea of like we took a risk, right?
Yep.
We migrated from Ghana, we migrated from Italy to get to the America, the new world, however you want to call it, and have opportunity, and it doesn't have to be limited to what the consensus is of you go, you be doctor, you go, you be lawyer, you go, you be something that's high in demand and going to make a ton of money.
I think it also goes into them not really understanding that there's other jobs out there. I feel no, no, seriously, because I feel like the whole, YouTube thing and being a TikToker or a content creator or influencer, those are all like fairly new, especially to their generation. So it's like it takes some getting used to. And it's not until they actually see someone succeed in it, someone that is family, that they're like, you know what? Okay, there are other opportunities these days.
Hmm. No, that is true. When I started podcasting in 2014, everyone was like, "What is that?" I don't never even heard that word before. It
Mhm.
sounds like you made it up, and it's like, well, it's existed for almost a decade now. So there's that. So let's see. I have a couple. I have let's see one question here from. So Chi Chi asks, I would really like to understand the strategy she intends to employ to beat off the knockoffs, who can fairly easy copy the idea, as well as her experience working with these two investors to grow her brand.
Yeah, so the thing with this product is that it doesn't really qualify for utility patent. A utility patent is like the strongest patent you can get. You either get that or a design patent. I decided not to go that route because we have multiple different designs and it's very easy to copy like a satin line hoodie. You can like change the satin or change the material it's in, and then your patent doesn't really matter, your design patent doesn't really matter anymore. So when you can't get a patent on a product, you want to make sure like your brand is solid enough so it speaks for itself. And that's really what I've spent time doing, just building up this brand. So it's not just like a satin line hoodie brand. Like when you think in apparel, I want you to think of like functional apparel, inclusive apparel, for hair protection. There are already knockoffs. Like even when I was starting, I saw some
Mm.
knockoffs coming about. But what the thing with knockoffs, it's like a one and done with them. It's like a fad to them. And no, and the knockoffs just say, "Oh, satin line hoodie." But with me, when and I get into my YouTube channel is all about healthy hair care. With me, I have a story. I have a reason why I created this brand, and everything I create in this brand is because I want people to practice healthy hair care. So you will see that the knockoffs will make satin line hoodies, but the hood is not even big enough to fit your hair. And one thing about like traditional hoodies, like they never fit my hair. One thing about black people, our hair grows up. It grows like this and it grows
Mm.
big. So if you're gonna make a satin line hoodie, at least make it big enough to fit. My hair is pulled back right now, but you could tell that there's a lot of space in here, right?
Mm.
So like I look at every single detail when it comes to this brand. So I want my customers, I want the kinfolk to trust the brand because and the thing with a product like this, it's not a product that you run out of like a shampoo that you can put on a subscription. It's a product that you can be one and done, but because we keep releasing new products, releasing new colors, new accessories to protect your hair with satin, we get like 40% repeat customers whenever we drop something. So with me, I'm just like, I don't really care about the knockoffs. We get DMs all the time from the kinfolk. They're like, "Hey, I think this person is copying you," and I was like, "We don't care." We don't care. And we don't care. And then another thing is I haven't gotten a chance to work with my investors yet because everything happened so fast. But I know with their help, we're gonna like become like a household name when it comes to satin products. So yeah, like I have no worries about the knockoffs. Like they're not doing it the way they're not passionate about this the way I am.
Yeah, and I think that speaks volumes. Being able to craft a brand, especially around a personality like yours, and a person like you are, it's so much more powerful than just being a big box retailer putting out a
Yeah,
hoodie.
exactly.
And even if it were like the oversizedness thing, I mean, I feel like that wouldn't be. I feel like that's not that easy for them to just go and get done. The
Mhm.
satin part, sure, that's not, but the like trying to explain to somebody who wouldn't understand when it comes to the like let's manufacture it this way.
Yeah.
I feel like would not be the easiest thing to pull off out of the
Exactly,
gate.
and it's gonna take a lot of, iterations because and the thing is there's so many different types of satin, you gotta make sure you get the right satin, like,
Mhm.
and I've taken months to study satin, like, I know all these different types of satin and what satin should be used on specific types of products, so, I mean, a big box retailer can try to knock it off, but it's not gonna be the same quality as Kin Apparel.
Yeah, and it probably would speak to a different market
Mhm,
anyway.
mhm,
Just because you make a bigger, you accomplish the bigger hoodie size doesn't necessarily mean you're marketing it right to that particular demographic that would care about their hair being able to fit in
mhm.
or anything like that. They would just be like, hey, just buckshot. Like, hey, everybody wants a bigger hoodie, right? Like, or a bigger hood for their hoodie. Why not, right? And it's that's not and I think that speaks a lot to understanding your avatar and who the person that you are really trying to reach in is, and that's I actually have a free guide for that. It's if you go to superjoepower.com/avatar. But yeah, I love that. So I have no doubts that you have no problem with those knockoffs because it's not the same. They don't have you and they can't replicate what you bring to the table.
Yes, and another thing is we've built such a solid brand that like the kinfolk go hard. The kinfolk, they're our customers, our followers, their supporters, they go hard for us. So if like let's say like a big box retailer was to do this, oh yeah, it's gonna be all over Twitter, all over Instagram, like take it down. Like this is not Kin Apparel, like they go hard. So it's also like building a very loyal following, a very loyal customer base who are always going to be looking out for your best interests.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just having people DM you about knockoffs that they're finding is awesome because they don't have to do that, right? And most brands, come on, like let's face it, like most companies are not going to have people texting them or messaging them or emailing them about knockoffs to their products. You know, no one's emailing Amazon. Or I guess I don't know if Amazon Basics. Yeah, I guess Amazon Basics would be a good example of like nobody's emailing Jeff Bezos about, hey, they're knocking off the fact that matters. They're probably knocking off the person that they copied from that person, which is getting them in the hot water, which is good. They should be reined in a bit there when it comes to knocking successful products like
Mhm.
specialty products off in
Exactly.
their own store. So there was one question that came, another question that came up in the comments asking about if you thought about bringing your production stateside at all.
My production stateside.
Yeah, producing the hoodies like here in the States rather than in
Oh,
China.
sorry, I didn't understand that question.
Oh, no, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right.
No, I haven't thought about that yet, mainly because like the materials that we use are like very specific that I don't even think they're here. Like everything will have to be
Oh.
shipped to the US anyways. Like we use very like I'm gonna have to send you a hoodie. But
I'll
if you
tell you
look
what,
at
I will come pick one up in South Philly. I will find parking in South Philly and come pick one up.
like some of the satins that we use have to be shipped over to the US overseas. And the pricing will just be like maybe double what we even pay right now to make the hoodie.
Really?
Yeah, like so right now I'm comfortable with it being overseas, but I don't know what the future will bring, especially with the new investors and their resources.
Yeah. I mean, my thoughts on that was, the cost alone just in the manufacturing side would be way more expensive
Exactly.
on that side of it alone. So, not that you couldn't necessarily do it. I mean, we saw in the same episode as yours was Pat Pasco
Mhm.
and how they did that. He did the pivot to like, oh, we're gonna make everything local and like the troubles that he's having, right? With having, and he might not be having those troubles anymore if he's watching. If you're watching this, I'd love for you to, Patrick. I'm pretty sure that was your name. Come, I'd love to have you come on the show. But there's some very real obstacles with doing it here in America. It's not as simple as just finding a bunch of people and having
Exactly.
them do it for you.
Yeah, and the
Um,
standard of living and the cost of living is way more expensive here. So the hoodies will cost more to make, and then inevitably we'll have to increase the prices to even make a good margin profit. So right now it's really not in my mind to bring it here, but we do sell other products like satin line hoodies is how we started, but we do have satin line beanies and our patent pending pillowcase. Things like that I can see being made here, but not the hoodies.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely. I mean, look, hey, if any products, I'm all for products coming here to be made in America. Like, make no two mistake. Anybody watching this, make no mistake about it. I'm pro people. Okay, so they need jobs too. We need and they need fair wages as well. For where their living conditions are, wherever they is, right? Whether it's Vietnam or Pakistan, China, like doesn't matter what country, South America, it doesn't matter where we're talking about. But um, I think that there's also a fine line, and I also feel like it's a potential growth opportunity as well, right? So going back to Patrick, like he has the line that's made in America, but there's also a line that is not necessarily, I'm pretty sure, not made in America, right? So that's a growth opportunity. Like, look, we have the $80 hoodie. Here's the hoodie that's made in America, and it's $140. It's like, And that's
Yeah,
not I don't think that's unreasonable. I mean, it's a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but it's not unreasonable. For being said to be able to be like, hey, we're made in America and we are able to do it here and have a quality product and be able to make the profit so we can still continue to turn it over.
yeah. And then there are people that look for stuff that are made in America and they're willing to pay that extra amount of
Hmm.
money. But right now, like with my audience, that amount of people does not outweigh like the amount of people that want to pay the $80.
And that's understandable. I mean, look, you look at like I actually did an article on the Entrepreneurs here on the channel about Kanye West's hoodie that was $90 at the Gap, and people are like, "This is the Gap we're talking about here. Why is this a $90 hoodie?" And and there's nothing special. Apparently, there's nothing special about the hoodie. At least that's the way the article said it. I don't know if it was like organic cotton or something. And I love Kanye, but
No,
it's
it's not satin line and the hood looked so small.
it probably was. I mean, they said it was a basic hoodie, and I haven't seen one for myself to know otherwise. But they had it in a bunch of colors, which is also probably why it was not in part of the $90 is every color you add is more inventory, more sizes, it expands everything, and that means you're gonna have more ending up at the clip. Well, in his case, in that case, I don't think they had any. They sold them out, but they might have just been pre-orders. I don't even know, so they didn't have to worry about that and could pocket all the profits. But so I yeah I I love the pitch. I love that the fact that you were able to accomplish what you came to do. And I love the fact that your response to people who said crying is unprofessional. It This is your
It
version of professional.
is what it is.
Ding 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 ding. So you get back. So you get out of the tank, and I assume you eventually head back home. Did you get to enjoy LA at all? Had you ever been to LA?
No, that was my first time in LA. So I ended up, so I made friends there. There were a lot of entrepreneurs there. So I made a friend and we went out to a boardwalk. We got some churros, we got a burger. And we talked a lot about business and what this means for our businesses being on Shark Tank. But yeah, that was my first time in LA. I didn't get to like go all around, but I did go to a boardwalk and get some food.
Oh, was it Santa Monica by chance? Because I
Yes.
love Santa Monica. Santa
Yeah.
Monica's great. Santa Monica's great. I could go there anytime. I'm willing to go anytime. So okay, so you get back, and what's the vibe feel like then? Like what were you like race? Did you feel like you were on the clock at that point? Like okay, like now I gotta ramp up, get more orders in here, or what was going through your mind?
Um, so that wasn't going through my mind because even when like you film and make a deal, your episode still might not air. So they always make sure to tell you that like your episode will still not might not air. In addition, when you make a deal, it's more like a handshake agreement on the show. So because like that's like the first time the sharks actually see you. And here another thing, some people think like the sharks know about you before you get onto the stage, but like no, it's like the minute you're there, that's the first time they're ever meeting you and knowing about your business. So it was a handshake agreement. So that means like due diligence comes afterwards. There's a whole lot of back and forth. So when I got back, I was definitely not ready, or like I was not like in go mode to like produce more hoodies or like get some more funding to do that. All I knew was okay, now I play the waiting game. So waiting for the due diligence, waiting to go through all that, waiting to hear from Shark Tank to see if we're on the episode. So it was definitely the waiting game. And remember, I said this was like end of July. So July, September, wait, July, August, September, October. Like that's not a long time at all. um,
No.
Yeah, and it was the beginning of October. But you do find out about your episode airing a couple weeks before it airs, so that's the time you could use to like ramp up and stuff. I would say that prior to even being on Shark Tank, my goal for this year, on top of making $1 million, my goal this year was to actually prepare for hoodie. So last year what I realized was I didn't have enough inventory. If I had inventory, I would have made way more money, but I didn't have inventory. So I made sure to prepare for hoodie season, which I consider as September through March. So
Mm,
that means buying a whole lot of hoodies early and shipping them by sea. And when you ship things by sea, you pay way less. Express shipping, say like something is like $1,000 to ship express and get it within 5 days. If you were to ship it by sea, you're sacrificing time because it does take 90 days. Well, 30 days.
90.
Sorry,
I was gonna say 30. I said 90. That's
yeah,
a real,
90
I
is
mean,
crazy.
right now might be 45 to
Might
90
be.
days.
It takes like 30 days, but it'll be like $100. So it's like, okay,
Oh
if
wow.
we're gonna ship thousands of hoodies, we're gonna want to ship them by sea to actually make a
Yeah.
profit. So that was my goal. So when I came back from filming, I knew that I had already prepared for the season ahead. So that was like no issue. After getting on the show, we did sell through all that inventory.
Love it.
So
Love it.
now
Love it.
So now if you were to get on the site, we do have a few things left, but a lot of things are also on pre-order for people to, and people will be getting them before Christmas. That's what we said. Okay. A lot of people buy this as a
Wow.
gift because it's a great gift. So people will be getting their pre-orders before Christmas, but there are some things on the site that are available, like our new Teddy Fleece hoodies.
Ah, okay, okay. That's awesome. Hopefully everybody's orders can be fulfilled. Given the shipping crisis and all of that mess that's going on that we're tracking on the Entrepreneurs, which you should totally be watching here on the Super Joe Pardo channel. Uh, but but oh man, so okay, so it's only been 2 weeks since you've been on the show, um, and do you feel
Not even 2 weeks yet.
has it not been 2 weeks?
No,
Oh, I
this
guess Friday
Friday.
would be this Friday would be 2 weeks. So have you been recognized in Philly yet or what?
Oh yes, the day the episode aired, we actually had ABC News came into the office like the it was like the afternoon before it aired. They came into the office, did a story about me and Kin Apparel. So that aired around like 6 p.m. and then the show aired at 8 p.m. Yeah, so
Oh
yeah,
man.
the publicity has been crazy. Like, there's a lot of like articles in like the Philadelphia Business Journal. CNBC wrote a whole article about me that went viral. It's been really really beautiful to see the brand get into the eyes of so many people. And another thing is that like after Shark Tank, we got a lot of messages saying, "Hey, like I know you only market to black people, but this is not only for black people. Like I'm white and I have curly hair and I love this product. I could use
Mm.
this product too." And then I was like, well, if you think about like inclusion and all of that, like black people have not been included in a lot of things for years. Like we often buy things that we don't even see our shade in it, but we buy it because we know we need it. So, and also I'm a black woman and this is a product that really, really benefits like black hair because when it comes to hair, like our hair is near and dear to our heart. It's not just hair for black people. So I knew like when we started this brand, yes, I was marketing towards the black community because this is something that we need. But I always knew that anyone could protect their hair with a satin line hoodie. It's just like I started with the black community because that's what I've known for most of my life. And that's just to say that this product is so amazing because last year a kinfolk by the name of Joanna left a review on the site, and she was like, "Hey, I just finished my chemotherapy medication, and to my surprise, I found Kin Apparel, and I'm so happy because as my fragile hair grows back, I can protect it with this hoodie." So when I saw that review, I was like, "Oh my goodness! Like this product, this brand is bigger than me myself. Is bigger than what I ever thought it would be. Like we're over here helping people that have been treated for cancer or going through chemo medication and all of that. So after seeing that review, one thing that we did was we actually donated hoodies to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So
Oh, I love
September,
that.
yeah. So September is actually childhood cancer awareness month. So we kicked off our donations with a box of hoodies for the kids there at CHOP, and we're gonna do it this month and also next month as well. So we're doing 3 months of donations, and our goal is to like continue doing that because after hearing Joanna's story, I was like, wow, this is huge. Like we could really help people going through this as well. And we actually got some feedback from the staff there, and they were like, the hoodies have been very therapeutic for the kids.
Oh, my cousin actually works at CHOP as one of the nurses. I absolutely love that, and I think that an important lesson there for entrepreneurs, like going back again to the avatar, right? Start with one particular person or one, in theory, one person in mind that you're going to solve that problem for, and other people will gravitate to that problem. You just, by marketing to everybody, you market to nobody. If you're just like, hey, this protects your hair, we might not be having this conversation right now, right? Because it wouldn't resonate with one group or one person enough to
Mhm.
feel passionate about it enough to keep buying it and continue to enable the brand to grow so that other people could hear about it and not allow it to like get kind of drowned out with all the other messages that are out there for everybody. Like the Coca-Colas and the Pepsis and the all those people that are just marketing to like everybody on a mass scale. And no, I resonate and reflect with what you're saying about not being represented, because like I'll tell you, like whenever I watch movies, the older the movie, the less, I mean, like you see it, it's like, wow, everybody in this movie was white except for the one person who was like an extra that's off the side. I mean, I notice it every single time. I think it's just really interesting that you bring up that, like, hey, we haven't been represented as a whole in many industries, and here is these are an opportunity to be represented, and
Exactly.
uh and then other people are going to benefit because of it, and the whole chop thing and donation thing, that is awesome. I absolutely love to hear that.
Thank you so much.
So, no, thank you so much, Philomena, for being here today. And it's so great, and I didn't even realize that you were here in Philly, and because of your boogie down in the Bronx opening from your pitch.
Oh yes. So I'm from the Boogie Down Bronx. I had to say it. I was like, "Can I say I'm from the Bronx, or do I have to say Philadelphia?" And they were like, "Yeah, you say the Boogie Down Bronx. We like it." Because I grew up my whole life like in Ghana for the first 5 years, and then in the Bronx, I lived there till it was time to go to college. So I'm like a Bronx girl at heart. So I really wanted to say that.
No, I love and can definitely appreciate that. Being the home of hip hop is that's so awesome. Um, so is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up here?
Yeah, so I want to say that thank you because when I watched the reaction video that you did, you pointed out something about the site. You were like, you wish that it said satin line hoodies like bigger, right when you got
Yeah.
there. So that day, that same night that I watched your video, I went on the site and I put satin line hoodies huge. I put satin line hoodies for hair protection, and when you go on the site, that's the first thing that you see, and then it's
Oh.
also the second thing that you see. So, thank you so much for that.
Oh, you were so welcome. You know, I love doing the website review and looking at the reviews as a whole and all that. Even though the retention rate on YouTube, and I could speak YouTube to you, because you are, you know, have a huge following there, is not great, right? There's a huge drop off once they find out who gets the deal. There is a pretty good drop off, but I will say that line on the graph has started to push upwards as more people have gotten comfortable with the idea that, hey, just because they got the deal doesn't mean that we're done here. You know, there's whether it's an update on where they're at, or if it's just, you know, from the same night as your episode was. It's important to look and see like what's going on. Like a good example is that uprising food. Like
Mhm.
I legit could not figure out what that was when I first did the preview video for it a couple
Oh, okay.
days before. I'm like, is this for grilled cheese, or like what are we? I just didn't know. I you know, it said super cube, but I don't know what a I didn't, you know, I'm not in the keto world, so I didn't know, you know, maybe that's a word in the keto
Yeah.
world, but you know, saying keto bread would open my eyes, you know, to it a little bit more, and maybe other people's, but yeah, it's just those things, and I love seeing faces. You know, putting faces enables people to identify, like you were saying about having, you know, one particular person
Mhm.
feeling so passionate about the product, and
Yeah.
because it's solving problems, and having those faces enables people to see themselves there.
Mhm.
And so, you know, you know, overall, I think you did a wonderful job, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here, Philomena. And I definitely, we should get together and have some cheesesteaks together.
Oh,
What's your cheesesteak place, to your go to place?
Ishkabibble.
Really, I haven't eaten there since it was probably like 2004 or five since I was there. I usually go to Jim's, which is like right across the corner. Oh, you don't like Jim's?
There's something, so it's like every time people come to Philly, they go to gyms or Geno's, and we're just like, that's not the Philly cheesesteak. Like, you gotta go to Ishkabibble or you gotta go to Max's in North Philly. That's where they really doing it.
I don't know. I don't think I've heard of Max's in North Philly.
Max's
That
is like every time I go there, the line is like outside. It's a black owned Philly cheesesteak spot in North Philly.
Really? Ah, I will have to go and check that one out. I'm gonna write that in my book here. Yeah, well, we could go to Ishkabibbles. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've eaten there. Not that it was bad. It just, you know, just gyms. I could go for a gyms right now. I've gone there at like 2 in the morning, you know, and sat down and had a cheesesteak before, because it's a thing to do, you know, and is it healthy? No, not even remotely, but it's good for the soul. It's good for the soul. Um and you know, so yeah, so again, I appreciate you, Philomena, for taking the time to come on, and I'm glad that we've gotten to meet, and I'm looking forward to you know, getting together in Philly, and go getting a cheesesteak, and I want to get a hoodie, and all that. So thank you again.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm glad I got to get on your channel and speak to your audience as well. And I also want to say, like, if you have a passion, pursue it. Like, it's the best feeling ever. It takes a while and it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take a lot of like working smart. But hey, like, continue because you just never know. You never know who's watching and you never know how big you're gonna get. But hey, if you have a dream, pursue it.
Ding ding. I 110%. 110%. It's yeah, you can't let anybody else get in the way, and you have to own your vision, because no one else is going to see it, right? Like when I left my family's business, nobody understood what a podcast was. They didn't understand I was going to write books and speak and work with business owners and entrepreneurs on growing their business, and they were like, this will never work. This is not a thing. I There's no way.
Yep,
And here we are 7 years later, because it
yep.
is working, and and has been an amazing, incredible ride getting to meet awesome people like yourself.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And continue doing your videos. I actually started watching you made one for this past Friday. I started
Mhm.
watching that one too. So I was like,
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I yeah, I do I so for anyone who doesn't know, I do them the same night that they air brand new. And the reason I do that is because search traffic, and people are searching, when you look at the search graphs on Google Trends, it's like, whoa, like there's a huge Shark Tank effect that's
mhm,
happening. Shark Tank is still getting around 4 million viewers live on
mhm,
in the ratings, which is pretty massive. That doesn't sound like a lot when you compare to like the 50s and 60s where people, it was like, oh man, they had like 50 million people watching or something, something crazy. But there was also three channels and no iPhone, no YouTube, no TikTok, no. There was three channels, so you were watching one of the three channels probably.
yes.
So yeah, I love being able to get them out the same night. It enables me to capture a captive market, and also capture some hateful comments from people who are like, shut the hell up and let the video play. And I'm like, you're not my audience, but I appreciate you anyway. It's just, it's just a shame that some people feel super entitled to something that they could easily just pay for or watch for free on Hulu, or on ABC's website for that matter, or their cable provider, or all these different ways. But no, 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 no. I should just get out of the way, and that's it's a shame, but it's okay. The community's still growing, and
Mhm.
I'm trying my best to keep it as positive as possible and constructive as constructive, not destructive, constructive as possible. And I feel like we're really making some headway, and maybe at some point I'll be up to almost 200,000 subscribers like you, Philomina.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. No, I think you're doing an amazing job. Like, really continue doing it. Like, you're really making a way for entrepreneurs as well. And also, I feel like when people watch your videos and like hear your feedback as well, they're also bettering their company as well.
Absolutely, I've gotten a lot of feedback from people like that, and like yourself, that
Mhm.
have taken that feedback and implemented it. And that's, I stand on 30 years of business experience. Like
Mhm.
it's crazy, but it's just the way. I mean, it's just what I love to do, is helping people, and this is the best way that I know how to help people, is enable business owners like yourself to like go and get more help, go, hire more people,
Yeah.
and enable it to just grow from there, and then grow how you can help people. So
Mhm.
again, thank you so much, Philomena. I look forward to getting with you together here in the near future. And again, if you how can everybody get a hoodie?
Oh, yes. You can go to kinapparel.com. That's KINAPPAREL.com.
I love it. Thank you again to everybody for watching. I'll see you in one of these next videos over here. You're probably like covering my face at this point, or down below somewhere. It's somewhere on the screen. Go and check out one of those videos. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.